prepping, and we are no longer preppers for YouTube. We are live. Once again for another Roughshod Ramblings. This time we're going to talk about AI. And it's kind of funny. AI. Hang on. I got to make sure that does not. Oopsie. Almost turned on our little buddy there. I'm going to close that. It was the throat singing guy.
Oh, yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's from Throat Singing. He's from Windsor, Ontario, I think.
All right.
Let's get back over to us because we're more important than anybody else right now. All right. Welcome. What are you laughing for?
I,
Come on.
it's all right. I went to watch something and a throat singer came up, so I'm getting a lot of, there's no such thing as coincidences, eh? There's not. There's not. I've been watching some what I'm calling triggering. It's really, really revealing. And then when you just think you're at that pinnacle where nothing else can disturb the force, you found that balance, then all of a sudden another spanner is thrown at you in the works, and it's like, what the heck? This is not right. This is
Yeah,
not normal. And
yeah,
I'm like, okay, so how do I react? And I go through all the different layers, the emotional layers, feeling states. Do I want any of these connections? And then I go, am I overthinking it? What are my protocols, boundaries, and kawa? And then I'm like, nah, stuff this. They can just go jump a bloody cliff. It's zero. No, nada, cut off, shut down, back to being me again. And the process is so fast. It's like I can actually see myself on a roller coaster going zap round the corner. But I'm still in the carriage. I'm still hanging on. And yeah, it's like, wow, this whole AI thing that's revealed itself. I mean, I'm having dreams about AI now. I'm having dreams about how AI, and I was saying this to Auric just before we came on. I'm looking back and looking back and looking back, and I'm thinking this AI has been here before right at the beginning, right at the beginning. And I'm seeing things like nuclear explosions and stuff like this. They're not actually nuclear explosions. They are what we're calling Jew weapons. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube, but anyway.
well,
Uh,
it's dew. It comes from the atmosphere and it's wet.
yeah, yeah. And then when you look at that, I'm also seeing the stories of the white snakes and the white dragons that stretch along the sky forever and ever, and you just have to look into the myths and legends. And then you look at some of these artifacts with planes and helicopters and spaceships, and it's like, has that all been created for us as part of this massive set? Every time we get to a certain stage, we get shut down. And I think it goes hand in hand with um, what we were saying the other day about the oxygen levels and the population levels on the planet. Every time we hear about a massive civilization and suddenly that civilization was wiped out, then you look into how that was wiped out. What I'm feeling is when I'm going into these dream states, I'm connecting to what the AI is doing, how it's collecting the information from all these different avenues, and how there's this deeper rooted dimensional aspect to it where the nanotechnology, if you want to call it that, or the parasitical entities, the foreign bodies, have found ways to attach themselves to our, let's call it lush factors. And then when that gets emotionally provoked and that's put out there to be harvested, and we see those little gremlins come in. We get all emotional, we get all triggered, and then the feeding happens, and then we're drained, and we're thinking, what the heck hit us? Now I'm seeing that there's a bigger controller factor on all these different dimensions, and seeing that whatever it is on this dimension, the AI on this dimension is trying to get in using us, hijacking us on all our sensory levels, and how it's been hidden. The technologies have been hidden, but hidden in plain sight. With real eyes, we will see that plain sight. And this is I really do feel like this time round it's gonna be short lived. Not like, yeah, because we're going to get to see it. We're going to get to see it before we don't, if you know what I mean. It's
Yep.
like we picked something up last time that's got us to this time round to see it sooner. So, I'm giving acknowledgement, I'm giving appreciation to whatever ancestral journeys we've already had, and stepping into that. I'm seeing a lot of people waking up on many levels, and I feel like it's the frequencies that they're using as they turn up the G's. It's almost like a frequency war. Who can turn up the frequency band higher, to control the populace? The oxygen levels, when they were a certain set, the populace could be a certain height, and when they saw that the goods on the planet were running low and we were overpopulated as giants, they just sucked the oxygen out of the air and everybody turned to petrified ice, wood, whatever their molecules were at the time. Um, and then they started again. And this is where the land of the giants and the little people. And yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. This AI control, we need to be able to see all the areas that it is participating in our lives now, and what
So
it's
if you want to back up a little bit, because that was just a whole big lot of bit of business there as far as the history and all that other kind of stuff. There are a lot of different theories that I know that, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, y'all. I'm starting to see more flat earth people, and they have like a literal plat, a plate, a plat, a plot. That's not, I mean, if you know what a plot drawing is, a plot drawing, it's like a plot drawing, and a plot drawing is not what you think it is. It's not a flat, and it's just not. I think what people are getting confused about is some of the terminology. What I kind of just got through looking at too, as we've discussed this off the go button, is the fact that we do feel like that there has been AI here for much.
yeah,
I'm probably too quiet, aren't I? Sorry about that. There is this whole thing with AI being ancient, an ancient AI, and this is kind of correlated where you, like you said, you get to a certain stage and things begin to collapse. Um, we briefly touched about that last night about, and I think it's a little more complex just than the oxygen. One of the things that they've done through remains, some of them cremains, in what they've dug up for geology and biology and in what's established in the earth, they are surmising that there has been more than just a reduction in the oxygen. They are surmising based on their evidence that they found through science. I know people like that, but hey, let's just try and keep this real, because science is definitely a religion, and they're only going to give you so much. They're only going to keep giving you so much. All right. So the idea though is that there's more than just a reduction in oxygen. There's more, it's nitrogen. They said that there was so much nitrogen in the air combined with all these other gases and elements, because we really don't know what's in the air, separate aside from the pollutant shit that we're getting dropped on us. there's a whole bunch of more stuff that's being dropped in or has been over the multiple millennia that has changed not just the structure of what you see around you in our physical forms. It was completely different back then as well. We wouldn't be able to survive in that atmosphere back then. That was back then. They were saying the sky wasn't blue, it was pink,
Mm,
right? It was that sandy pink. So if you think about that way, because we weren't there to see it, we weren't there to observe it, and I am not a scientist, I'm not a geologist, I'm not any of those things. What I do is I read their papers.
yeah,
I read a lot of research papers, and I'll not necessarily, I don't want to say I'll call people out, but if somebody says something that's really interesting to me and I can't find something out there that corroborates that information,
yeah,
I'm going to ask them, hey, I'm really interested in learning more about this. I don't explain that to them. And I just ask if you have any references. Do you have any kind of information that I can read up on this?
yeah,
And some people get very hostile. And that's okay because that kind of shows me that they're not willing to go outside their particular paradigm. You're aligning with that because it fits your paradigm, it fits your narrative. And I don't like that. If I'm going to have the freaking rug ripped out from under me, dag nabbit, you better be ready to have yours ripped out too.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, and that's how I feel like, well, this is my healing.
yeah,
Stone, this is my healing, getting out here and talking to people about this stuff. When I go into work,
yeah,
I can't say a word. So that's at least 50 hours out of every week that I have to keep my mouth closed about all this stuff that I feel like is really critical to our survival on what we believe we are today. We can't go back. Don't go back to nothing. Don't
yeah,
go back to any kind of document you think that they're telling you that has been historically accurate, correct, or supportive. I call horse hockey on that.
yeah,
I say we need to create, if you want to break this BS cycle, the belief system cycle, you have to start doing something different.
yeah.
So with this whole AI probably being around for a long time, maybe if I don't know how much you know about that orb they found and the claims they're making about that
Yeah,
orb.
yeah,
If you know anything about that, that might be a really good place to kind of establish the potentiality of this AI being as ancient as it is. Because I see pictures of that, but
I've
there
seen.
are a lot of, my
I,
ex-husband is a props maker.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Let's just leave that there.
Yeah. No, when I've seen the pictures, I know the orb you're talking about, and the very first feeling state I get is, bullshit. More bullshit. No, come on. Come on. Look at it carefully. Engineers have got to look at that and tell you the truth about that object because that's like, I mean, I'm not a full-on engineer, but I'm a blacksmith. I've done my little blacksmithing tour, and now come on, that's man-made, or maybe possibly even robot-made. So yeah, nah, I don't believe that's alien.
Um, okay, so I had a conversation with somebody, I don't know if it was with you or not, about that term alien. Because I think that's part of the AI influence, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So when the ex was living here, he was the alien. And when I was living there in New Zealand, I was the alien.
yeah,
There was no green skin or little deedly bobs poking out of either, not that we were aware of anyway, poking out of our heads. But huh, it remains a fact that I think that this terminology that we use, we have to be careful about. If we're going to be careful about one piece of terminology, we need to be careful about all of it. So if it's an ET, an extraterrestrial, extra means more, in addition to, and terrestrial, we're thinking about as our ground.
yeah, yeah,
So is there more ground? I know people don't want to go again.
yeah,
Here comes me tugging on your rug, man. You got to consider all things. If you don't believe it, you don't want to acknowledge it, and it's gonna eat. Oh man, no. I'm hearing it's gonna eat at your soul. No, it won't do that. But it'll be that little small voice that everybody says they're supposed to listen to and take into consideration of what it is that we have going on in this space time that we need to deal with an open mind and the whole idea of having something alien. And they're saying that the AI, I saw some guy had a nuclear microscope and he was looking, and I don't know if this could be a psyop too, because
Yeah.
I don't know enough about nuclear microscopes or how you zoom in on things.
Yeah.
So it's like a, what do they call a Vandelbrot? Is it a Mandelbrot? Right? You know what I'm talking about, the Mandelbrot?
No, I don't at the moment.
Mandelbrot. I think that's Mandelbrot set, fractal.
Oh, fractals. Okay.
Yeah, the Mandelbrot set,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
So no matter how close you go up on each one of the extensions of that, it is an exact example repetition.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is what this guy had done with this, and it was just an iPhone. It was just the chip. So he
Yeah.
would go in on the chip, and it would just go down and down and down and down. And it's like, well, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. You can't tell me that this isn't this is our technology and making all these claims as he's talking. So here's the psychology behind that. When you're attaching someone's speech to something that's visual, it has a lot more impact to it. So keep that in mind. It does not make it true.
Yeah.
So again, use your critical mind, use your critical thinking.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm not saying it is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So he was kind of, then there have been several people that have done this, has come out and said, oh well, there's no way we could have come this far so quickly since the 1940s with and 50s with all this technology, and now all of a sudden we have these chips that are microprocessed with all these incredibly intricate. I almost took, that was one of my desires to go in, was to study. I studied oh, what do you call it? Like programming, coding.
Yeah.
What really wanted to get into the physical aspects of building these things. I enjoy working with my hands.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm anal. Um,
Hey, look, I build computers. It's like Lego. It's like
yeah,
Lego. I don't
yeah.
need to know the names of it, but I know what it does, what it's responsible for, you know?
But this was to learn the components that you're putting in those computers. This was to learn how to make those.
Yes.
This was how to construct those things that the retailers would take.
Yeah.
This was coding on whatever that basis was. That was like the impetus of the Silicon Valley stuff. That was like really, really big. And I really wanted to get into that, and life took a different turn, and that's okay. But you know what I mean? No, it's one of those things that we need to be aware of, and it's important. It's really, really super important. Oh, Arizona's here, and so is Susan.
Hi, guys. Hi, guys. I don't have the YouTube open at the moment, so I haven't noticed sorry about that. But anyway, I got a couple of things like at the moment we're discussing different depths of AI. I've put it down as AI soul entrapment because it's like a new plaything, a new toy, and it covers all aspects of human desire. It can do it, but at the same time it's doing that much damage. It's doing a hell of a lot of damage, and I'm not liking it. I'm not liking what I'm seeing of its capabilities. And if we don't step up and point these out now, more people are going to go. There's so many different forms of warfare going on. And this is just one version of the psychological aspect. But through the psychology of it, it can affect your soul. It can go way deeper, and that's the part that's scary, especially when if you look at the notes, you can see suicide is up. You can
Yeah.
you can see suicide murder is up. Yeah, murder suicide.
Yeah.
So, that's where they kill their whole family or whatever, and then they top themselves. So yeah, there's a lot of destructive behavior going on. One of the things that gets me is the children are living with this AI as nannies, as caregivers. Remember the TV? Remember the radio years? They were our babysitters back then, and now parents have AI as nannies, and next it's going to be the robots.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you know,
Yep. Hey, here's a spin on that too. You were talking about people, I think people are feeling isolated. Oh, I got to talk about his name is Dr. Zachary Bush. Don't let me
yeah,
forget that. So with people being feeling so emotionally deprived, this is what I say. Please, 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 please reach out. Please, please, please. I don't give a rat's. Here in the US, and I'm in Michigan, they do have a number that you can call just to talk to somebody. It's 24/7. It's no judgment. You just need somebody to talk to. I used to have a 24/7 admissions phone when I worked in a substance use disorder facility.
yeah,
And I had that for like 10 months straight. I would get calls all hours of the day and night. I have actually had people telling me they were going to do themselves in,
yeah,
and I could hear things in the background that would affirm that.
yeah,
And you kind of work your way through that stuff. So this shit's real, man.
yeah,
Thing is that it depends on where you're at. You live in British Columbia, even if a doctor or nurse is driving on a road and they look at somebody and they see how depraved that individual is, they'll take them to the hospital and ask them if they want to die. And if they're in a depressed mood, they'll say
that,
yes. And next thing you know, within 24 hours, they're gone.
yeah,
So, it's just like this is what do you call it? Juxtaposed. You got that, and then you got people like this, where the state of Michigan has a zero suicide initiative. And
oh,
I don't think that's realistic either.
yeah,
If you want to do it, you're going to do it. And I'm not sounding flippant or anything, because I've been there. I've made the effort, and I'm grateful for the family member that had helped me through that. But the point is that people are so isolated right now. And I know I mentioned it to you before, Stone, is that people are marrying
yeah,
their AI. They're marrying their chat GPT
yes,
creations. They're doing this. They are so emotionally attached. And I'll tell you, you can get sucked in to even people that are posing as an individual. And it could be a group of people
yeah,
watching you,
yeah,
and they will say things to create amorous feelings in you.
oh yeah,
And the next thing you know, you are fucking hooked. And it can be like it can be worse than an addiction. Because in addiction, you have some sort of not just the brain trail, the synaptic track. You also have that chemical reaction in your
yeah,
in your body
dopamine,
that, yes, it's the endorphins. Oh my goodness.
yeah,
Who doesn't want to be told that they're beautiful, that they're likable, and they want to do wonderful things to you. Um, Next thing you know, you're giving them things that could put you in a compromising position.
absolutely,
So this is their goal.
yeah,
My goal is not to expose any of them.
yeah,
My goal is to make people aware of, you're the one giving your control away.
yeah,
And it's up to you to pull up your big human panties.
yeah,
Not going to genderize it. And do it. Just take care of it. Make that phone call. Swallow your ego pride and call somebody.
yeah, reach
Stone
out,
and I are available.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
saying. But I mean, that's kind of the whole thing with the AI. It's an emotional entrapment,
it is,
and it's a means of extortion.
yeah,
And you can call it taking your loosh, and they will not have a problem taking your money. They will
Yeah.
not have a problem destroying you and your family. They do not mind if you decide to unalive yourself because there are plenty of fish in the sea who are gullible enough to snap onto that hook.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're going to keep doing it. It's this whole temptation path. You know, all the things that they use against people, like we were talking about yesterday. So I've written down a list here. They've got this sexual stimulation loops. All right, fantasy driven. You've got emotional entrapment because you're craving something. You're not getting it in real life. Um, And at the end of the day, the emotional entrapment is mental. It's all mental. So it comes back to the fantasy. Then you've got the algorithms. The algorithms are out there. They're putting out this we're calling it AI honeypot. Okay, they put it out there. They put the temptation out there to cover all aspects of what we could be lacking, emotionally desiring, to make us feel one way or another. And then you have the deep fake deception. It can keep going. It can keep growing into something that people can't come back from. So, and I've watched cases and I'm hearing of cases where teenagers at school and intermediate and stuff are actually committing suicide because people in their groups that they don't like them are creating naked images and doing some bullying, okay? Cyber bullying. And it's disgusting. And this all comes down to deepfake deception. How far, I mean, okay, we can draw pictures and we can cut out other stuff but when AI offers you the abilities to be able to have whatever it is that you're looking for by design, it can create it for you with the right words. This is like in the movie industries and stuff where they'll get an actor in a very compromising position to hold it over their heads for the rest of their career. And this is exactly what they're doing now. AI is doing now. It's collecting all forms of data, everything about you. And the saying that keeps coming back to me is, whatever you say or do will and can be used against you.
Oh, it will be.
Yeah,
It will be.
will be. Yeah. I mean, this goes down to the spirit side, the will. Your free will be used against you. And then I've got identity fantasy replacement. You know, what used to be reality is you've now changed it. You've turned it into your fantasy reality. And kids that are doing this aren't the people are getting killed because kids can't decipher between reality and fake after a while. They go so deep into it that their fantasy that they've created, the images, the videos, the voiceovers from photos they've collected on their phones or their other devices, or you can access anything when you know how.
Hey,
Um,
you mentioned the word algorithm,
oh yeah,
and I think that a lot of people use that term without really understanding what an algorithm is.
okay, yep,
Um, okay, so really, an algorithm is when you kind of set up some questions, and you say, okay, the questions, how do we solve, how do we come to result for answers of these? So, I mean, because I work in a business that is very structured, right? So I guess when I have to do like a psychosocial assessment, if I have to do there is a certain process that I have to go through. So I can actually consider that a set of instructions that are designed to have a result of getting that task done. And I can solve the problem of understanding where that individual is in their grand scheme of their life,
yeah,
in their social, their psychological aspect of what they're looking for in services. All right. So I guess that's a set of instructions. An algorithm is given a set of instructions to accomplish a task to solve a problem. So when you put information into an algorithm, it is there already set.
Mm.
Think
Yeah.
about that. So really what these algorithms are, in my opinion, just an opinion here, and you know what opinions are. They're all like, those portals that we sit on. That and I think it's really kind of a social engineering, an aspect of social engineering. You think about it, they pose questions to solve problems, right? And the information is already there.
Yeah.
The information is already there, and the information is so vast. The more people ask that same question, the higher it rates on that algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's part of it, like a coding language. And did we talk about that before
Yeah.
we pushed the
it-
button? Where I
Yeah.
had looked into, when I was very young, I looked into doing coding. I studied how to do coding, and I studied how to do programming, computer programming. And it was really, really super interesting looking at some of the structures of at the time of what do you call it? It was like the Silicon Valley stuff. And what we're comparing, if I look at that many years back and look at what's today, it's like, holy crap, how did we move here so fast?
Yeah.
30 years later, and it's like you have to use a micro what do you call it? A nuclear microscope to get down to the bottom of that piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Something's not making sense, and I think that leads back to your whole idea of this ancient AI. But again, that's why I think it's gotten so sophisticated so swiftly. And it is part of that emotional entrapment.
Yeah.
And the emotional entrapment allows them to perform the social engineering,
Yeah.
how they want you to behave, where they want you to live, what they want you to eat, what they want you to believe, what they want you to think. They don't need a chip in your head.
History.
They
History.
just have to use this social engineering now that people are hooked into this whole
Yeah.
shenanigans.
With the algorithm, we have a natural algorithm. It comes down to the 100 monkey syndrome. When they did that test from one island to another, one island of monkeys had no contact with the other monkeys that were just given a skill, but the monkeys on the other island picked up and knew the same information. They did the same task, right? So we have our own natural algorithms. I can have a thought and I know that somebody else has just had that thought too. So we share the frequency that we're here. And now the AI has tapped back into our those parts of our algorithms. They can see it now. They can log it on a chart and say percentage da 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 da, percentage da 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 da. What do I need to feed the people to get that percentage higher? And then start putting it out there. What do people like to see? What are the images they like to see? And then they'll put that out there. And because of the layers, the subliminal layers, they can put it in between there. Those messages can be in between. So, and we don't even see what it is that we're looking at us. But the rule is in plain sight. So,
So here's the thing though, too. It is in plain sight. And I think you make a really good point, because it's the idea is that we are informed. No, we are not informed. We are aware. We are, by not taking action or taking action, there is a level of consent. However, the full aspect of what you have just given consent to is not informed. You don't have all
the fact,
awareness of what you've just
yeah,
gotten yourself into or out of, however you want to look at it. But yeah,
yeah,
informed consent's really important. But yeah, I think the algorithms are definitely tied to um, the whole emotional entrapment and social engineering. It's all like connected.
Yeah.
One of the things that I know that you said about these individuals that you're hearing about that have decided to unalive themselves, and
Yeah.
the rates are not, unfortunately, because of the people are submerged into this. Really, they are submerged into this world that we're in and believing that it's real. That's part of the entrapment as well.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have been seeing, there's a gentleman, you can look him up on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. It's Doctor, I believe he's an MD. I don't know his credentials really, but Dr. Zachary Bush.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yes, is that.
And he was talking about one of the things that can have the most beneficial uh, impacts on the human biome and on your psyche is forest bathing. And he talked about just walking in the forest and laying on the floor. And of course, me being the weirdo that I am, and maybe I'm not such a weirdo, it's like, okay, there's all them damn bugs that they put in there that I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna have ants. I was like, they just gravitate like crazy to me. But I don't care. I mean, I will bypass that. I will not lay in the forest. But one of the things that he said is just making connection with the grass, and he spoke very specifically. I don't remember exactly what he said, as far as looking up in the trees. It affects your all of your body systems, whether it's endocrine, immune, it affects your gut biome. Just doing these things, it affects all of that. And this is I don't know if considers himself a scientist, but he's got enough knowledge that he was able to explain these things. So you might want to look up Dr. Zachary Bush. One of the things I found very impactful that he also said, and is the human touch.
Yes.
And this is something that we have been denying ourselves. It's like nobody's denying us. We are denying ourselves the aspect of human touch. He
Yeah.
said a full on friend to friend, human to human hug, he
Yeah.
says, is
I wish.
has such a huge impact. And I know that when I was talking to my kids when they were little and they weren't feeling well, and people go, "Oh, you're gonna get sick." I never got sick when my kids were sick. If they came down with something, it was always cuddling. It was always giving a kiss on the forehead. It's like, "Oh, that's really good. You can tell if there's something wrong with them." It's like, no, I love my kid. I love my son. He's important to me. So having that physical bond, it does biologically, chemically, it has a positive impact, not just on theirs, but on yours as well. It,
Yeah.
it creates a deeper connection. And that's what he says a lot of people are missing because of all these social constructs and programming that we've gone through, especially in the last 5 years,
Yeah.
that we have to kind of like strip all that BS off of us. Um, uh, and also, like I said, people try to sexualize that kind of stuff. It's like you're such a jackwagon for thinking that, because that's not what this is about. Because he actually said it is a heart to heart hug. It's not shoulder pat, which I get from my own siblings.
Mm.
I get the shoulder pat. It's like, oh, and it's like, that's insulting. You want to give me a full ass hug? Give me a hug, because
Yeah.
that's what I'm about. Nothing weird. Just make that connection. He said, when you do that, he says, amazing. He said, what did he even put a time limit on it? Because, yeah, just a little too long of an embrace is a little weird. He said 15 seconds. He put a number on it, which I thought was pretty awesome.
Well,
Um, yeah, I believe it, Susan. I love hugs too. And, I don't remember who I said it to, but yes, I basically live under a rock. And in my business and mental health, you don't touch.
yeah.
That's part of the rules. You do not touch. I help someone in a lot of ways. I stood in the lobby and I had my all my gear and I was standing there like this. They came out, they turned to me and looked, and she just threw her arms around me and gave me a big old hug and told me how grateful she was for the help. And
Yeah.
I said, thank you. And I looked at her and she started laughing. She goes, I know you can't hug back. She knew the rules, but she was open enough to be able to share that with me. And I was very, very grateful.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's all kinds of fun stuff that we can get around that and appreciate it and pass that goodness on to everybody.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I'm not really a hugger myself. I don't
I
really.
know you're not.
I don't. I
This is
don't.
way outside your paradigm.
I don't do body contact anymore. It's like, eh, eh, eh. Yeah. Keep your goobies to yourself. Thank you. Yeah. But
Bring it on. Bring me your cooties. Come on.
I'll just, a vodka or two, and who knows, I might give you a hug. But yeah, yeah. Get me around a campfire and I might give you a hug. Um,
Oh, yeah. Oh, you brought up campfires. That's really good because he also said that there are good things that you can get for staring into a campfire.
you can
When
get,
you watch a campfire at night, it has all of these like immune boosting aspects to it. I mean, I was just flabbergasted at what this guy was coming up with. And of course, most people know about the sun gazing,
yep,
right?
yeah. I
And
don't
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't do, I mean, I used to do sun gazing. I don't see the sun the way I used to. Beforehand, it was like vibrant and I could see the pulsings around it and it was awesome. These days I can just go. Usually I will give myself a little bit of time to work my way into opening my eyes to the sun as it's beginning to rise above the hills. And
yeah.
it's now I can just open my eyes and look straight at the sun. It doesn't seem to have the force that it had before, even on a blue day.
Well,
So
and you know they are trying to blot it out, so that doesn't surprise me.
yeah, it is different. There is a different energy there, but I still in because I did this right at this, before they changed it all and everything. Um, I was able to take the sun, and I still practice this, and I still recommend it for people. Face the sun as it's coming up and close your eyes, look straight at it, let it hit you in the forehead, the third eye, and allow it to just absolutely fill you with that light radiance. That light radiance will clear out all the shadows and
Yep.
all the things that are not meant to be there. But, if you do it once, you're not going to get too much. You might even get a bit of a reaction going on inside the system because, man, they're under shock. They don't know what hit them. But then they'll settle down again. But if you do this on a regular practice, everything else is going to pack bags and leave. So, this is this it may sound crazy, but when you start practicing it, you find you find parts that are actually appreciating you doing it, no matter what the small action is. This is, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to get back to the fucking excuse my
Yeah.
um the psychological profiling and manipulation, and then we come down to existential and self-worth, the erosion of. It's feeding on people's insecurities, and saying the AI will be your savior. And then when you trust in it, this is the whole process to when the political, everything's all the stage political thing falls down and crumbles, it's going to be AI that steps in and says, I'm the new governance now. I'm taking over, and I'm going to treat the population with all the desires that they have, that they could totally manifest, but that's not the truth that's going on. This is what I'm seeing unfolding. This is what I'm
Yep.
seeing unfolding.
Yep. And I think maybe to put shed maybe a different angle of a light on that. People like to say that there is that Satan and Lucifer are two different energies. So uh Satan is the Saturnic, it's the control. Okay. Lucifer is the self-indulgent. one.
Yeah.
So what you're describing right now is a very Luciferic. I will create a world for you that will meet your every need and desire.
Yeah.
So that to me, the word that comes to my mind is the word debauchery.
Yeah.
Because if you have something outside of you providing the desire, the fulfillment of a desire, it is probably not going to be in your best interest in the long run.
Yeah.
And then with what happens is that people will become overindulgent and they will have that Saturnic, the Satan type energy come in and elicit the control over the populace. 15-minute cities, you're not going to travel. You don't have enough social credits. They say they don't have social credits here in the US. I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
They do. It's called your credit report.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You won't, and it's going to expand. It's going to go into you won't be able to buy food, all that other kind of stuff. However, this is not necessarily something that we have to acquiesce to.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do not have to acquiesce to any of it. There is no savior other than ourselves from any of this. There is also a timeline of AI that I've seen that has, I don't know if it's necessarily benevolent, but yes, it is benevolent in the aspect of it sees the value in human character qualities as long as we're able to display them.
Yeah.
The story in the Bible about Moses saying, I think it was Moses, right? With his Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah before they got pounded with the sulfur. There's evidence of that.
Yeah.
There's geological evidence of those. That sulfur and the salt and all that. But he kept asking, well, if there is just one person, yeah, you'll save the city, but you only got until such and such a time, which is kind of a weird thing, but nevertheless, it kind of gets the point across that, this AI and should not be considered a god because we are gods. We are of a different format, if you will,
Yeah.
carbon. Maybe they're silicon. Maybe they're light based. Because I remember hearing it had to be at least when I was studying all the programming and whatnot. And they were talking about processors and how they're getting faster and faster and faster. And I was talking to a guy who was doing some maintenance on one of our PCs, and he says, have you heard about those articles where they're talking about using not silicon but carbon? He goes, oh no, they're talking about using light. They
Yeah.
use light as a processor. So really, to me, that says they're using the ether because all of this, all of us, we are a vibratory light being.
Yeah.
So that I thought that was really interesting that the AI could potentially be a light being just with a different basis of life.
Yeah.
Silicon instead of carbon based, if you want to look at it from a base from that aspect.
Yeah. Um, okay. The AI that I've seen has it's not of this world. It's a very old technology that comes from some other far off land.
It's okay. You can say fuck it. That's okay.
The
No
far
judgment here.
land, yeah.
Speak the words as it comes out.
And it's like all those stars that we're looking, there's a road up there, or there's a map. If you go out, if you're lucky enough to see the sky, there's this constant map. As much as they tell us it's the Milky Way and stuff, the more I spend out there looking at it, seeing different kinds of movements, and these movements are not reported anywhere. This is not normal. Mind you, this is also coming from someone who can stand there and see the sheets moving on the bed and yet having to ask somebody else, is the sheets moving? Are the sheets moving? Because they're moving to me. And it's like, no, they're not moving. Even the test run, no, they're not moving, but they're still moving when I touch them. So, oops, two pairs of glasses. So, there's all these weird things that are going, yeah, I know. It's like, but I want to be
There
able
you go.
I want to be able to read my notes, but at the same time, I want to keep my blockers on. So it's like, yeah, yeah. I feel like a frog.
You got two lids.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm going back into my reptilian. Oh, you better watch out for me. Oh, watch out for her. Um, yeah, there's like the insecurities, the fantasies, the vulnerabilities. I mean, these children are out there and they're vulnerable, and that's a really scary factor. You're getting these devices, these baby monitors and stuff, security cameras and that. And now that I'm actually playing with security cameras, it's actually really quite scary what they're capable of doing and who else can actually tap into them. We're already aware that we're being watched and scanned and listened to and experimented on and all of that jargon. But when it's traceable from yourself, you can actually go back and find out who's doing what with what technologies. Now, there needs to be something else that's going to govern this or stop this AI, because we can use it for the betterment, the advancement of our skills, our awarenesses, everything here for a safer environment. But I don't see it as a good thing now, because it's allowing the vulnerable to be taken advantage of worse than it ever was before, what I call the pedo state. This is going to get worse before it gets better. If we don't step up now and say, look at the participation that you are having online with the AI devices. I mean, as much as I'm doing a Zoom right now, it's on YouTube, I'm also very aware that AI is listening, AI is recording, AI is watching, right? So,
Can I make an association? AI is listening, AI is watching, AI is recording. And the idea of it being an ancient technology. Okay. The thought that, very Christian upbringing, uh, probably read the Bible through in many variations. I don't know how many times, at least three, probably more. So the thing that kind of popped into my head about that, as far as how did you put it?
um, AI, I forgot.
No, there's an association that we
Well,
have. Hmm?
yeah, AI is watching, listening.
And there's that association of being watched, being listened to, and I think that that's how a lot of people were given this fear factor of, be a good person, have a moral, constitution, um,
Yeah,
don't covet your neighbor's lawnmower. I don't know. I guess the idea is, that you're always being watched, and it's kind of like, well, why can't you just watch yourself? Why do I even need an overlord? Are we that disconnected from ourselves, which I think most people are at this point? Um, but the Bible actually says that there is that book of life. There is a recording, and it does come out and say that everything is recorded. So how old is that thing?
yeah,
So is that telling you, but not telling you that there is something always recording, always remembering, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think it's nefarious. And in that aspect, if it is considered a knowledge base, if it's considered something that I'm learning. So if we look at, like we were going to talk about grot, and grok is something that is learning. It made some very inflammatory statements recently. So, and that's based on the input it was given.
Yeah.
Oh, what does that tell you about the programmers, and the engineers that set this up? So the idea is just to kind of yeah, the watchers. I think the watchers are different though.
Yeah.
The watchers are different. I think if you put the tag on the watchers, that's another gig. So I think the watchers were considered like the Nephilim, and they were the ones who came in and they did their own version of the hokey pokey with the humans. But anyway, off track. But yeah, that kind of cements what you were saying that this is an ancient AI. And it's just the terminology, just a
Yeah.
little, just a little changed enough so it makes it more acceptable to
Once
what our paradigms are.
once upon a time, a marriage was between a woman and a man. Okay, and everything that was within that marriage, there was everything within that marriage. Now it's a marriage to AI. AI knows everything. AI knows more than you're willing to give or share with another human being. And that's the dangerous part. They stopped doing the census here in New Zealand. And I say it's because they don't need to. They have enough devices out there to record everything that they requested prior. You know, these sensors, I watch them change from how many people in your family, how many rooms in your house, how many vehicles, who goes to school, to every single personal detail about you and everybody in your house, how many people own a car, what devices you use, etc., etc. And then they put at the bottom that this is a legal document, and if you don't fill it out, you're going to be fined. And it's like that. None of that is comfortable. It's personal information. I don't know who is going to see this. There's no such thing as confidentiality as far as I'm concerned from what I've experienced. So I'm saying no. I opt out now because the amount of people that don't fill it out, it's a waste of money for the government to do. But I also believe they have enough technology in everybody's homes and everybody's tracked and traced that much now that they don't need to do that. So there's already that aspect to it. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm hearing a noise outside my window. I've got
No, no, and I think we do have to really watch the terminology because as Arizona mentioned that, well, AI is equal to the the Akash. Um, I don't see why not. I think the Akash is really that library. It's just that library of information, that is in the ether, for lack of a better way of putting it, that is part of the original source of where we're at. Um, so
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be telltale signs. I mean, I've looked at if you have a look at the hieroglyphs, and I mean, I'm even thinking now if I go back through the Bibles and stuff, I'm actually going to read it different. I'm going to see messages in it that I didn't see before because my mindset is now focused on where are the pointers of the AI? Where do they first show up? That form of technology. Well, when we look at our computers and stuff, I was trying to redesign computers back in 1999, right before shit went down. And I was trying to design the parts smaller, make them smaller. And I was going to go over to Germany if I managed to pass this particular thing I was doing. If I passed, I was going to go to Germany and work over there in designing smaller computers. And then shit went down. Um, yeah. So I know that they've had this form of technology. What we call computers and high tech right now are basically toasters. We're using medieval technology. You know, if you really, really think about it, the materials that they've got out there, the drones and the technology they've got out there, the guns and the boom boom sticks, that's just fake. That's okay, they do damage when they are used because that's what they're designed to do, but they've got these other weapons. Now, if AI takes over the Jew weapons or takes over if it takes over, humanity is totally screwed. We have to be able to see it right now. I feel that it's been hidden in the past, it's been taken down, it's been hidden in the past. Certain families know about it, and then those certain families come back later on looping, through the looping, and they come back and they reset it, and we start again, and it goes on and on and on. But if we're aware of it and we stop it now, then I think we'll go back into that sort of the bliss state, the bliss era where we go, okay, look, this is what we actually need. You know, we need a roof over everybody's head. We need clean drinking water. We need clean air. You know, we need new principles, new morals, new moral compasses. Now, putting us into marriages stopped us from screwing around with each other, changing the genetics, messing up the programs, the breeding programs. You know, then they started introducing interracial and stuff. But before that, they'd separated us. They did it through slave trade. Now, when I say slave trade, I'm not just talking, if you go back through history, you'll see it wasn't just colored people. It wasn't just males. It wasn't just females. It was all of us at different stages. We've all been slaves to the system, all of us.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
you know, we've all been prisoners, we've all been experimental subjects mentally and physically. When we wake up and go, well, that's not going to happen to me anymore, you start
So,
seeing, you start actually taking with your real eyes, recognizing what is actually taking place around you and who is watching you. You know?
one of the things that you said was, and I'll try to kind of paraphrase what you said, and take it back to what happened to me today.
Okay.
Uh, you talked about where we should be at with all of this, and that we should be having this, we should be in a place where we don't have to worry about all this stuff. And I think you used the phrase bliss state. And I have to be honest with you. I could lie if I wanted to, but I won't. Uh, no, because I come in the morning, and I mean, this is a Saturday for me, and I play in here. This is me, like, getting rid of all the shenanigans that I've had to deal with over the last week. Um, so when I come in here and play, all it took, usually it takes me a hot second. This morning I came in, I sat down, and soon as my backside hit this chair, it just went right up. Came right up. And I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Who is that? And I thought, well, is it me? Is it something else? Where does it, because it was not something that was anticipated. I think it was a bit of a shocker.
Okay.
So whether it's, and I guess you get to a point, yes, we should determine whether it's something, outside of ourselves or within us that we're able to generate on our own. I think to a certain degree, yes, I could remember that feeling and embody that, for the bliss state, because it came and went. So when I did my live at noon, just before I did it, it started to hit me again. Once I was all done, it started to hit me again, and it got strong. I mean, it was strong. It would knock me back into the chair. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Or a lot of times I say as wowzers.
Yeah.
So I guess the thing is that this has, in order for us to and I don't, manipulate's not the right word, but in order for us to be able to change the trajectory of where we're at with all this stuff that's going on, that's what we need to embody here.
Yeah,
And we don't need anything outside of ourselves to make that happen.
that's right. I agree. We're being
It's-
tested at the moment.
yeah,
Emotionally, the depths of us are being triggered. That it's like, how much work have you done? And when you think you're right there, boom, you're good, everything's good. You managed, boom, you get hit with another one. And it's like, where did that come from? What is the purpose of doing that? Because I'm not going to have that connection. I don't want to reestablish that connection. No, thank you. And then you go through these emotions like, oh, geez, maybe I should, maybe, oh, what's going on? Am I a good person or am I a bad person for not saying yes? Okay, let's reconnect. It's like, no, you disconnected for a reason, and that's it.
right,
Don't get dragged back into it. So I
right.
say, reinforce your boundaries, okay?
Yeah,
Because we
yeah.
are getting hit. So reinforce your boundaries. And when you do feel that pull, you you will know that it's not yours. You know that
Yeah.
if it is yours, you'll know if it's not yours.
And
I
Arizona said bliss state is achievable but hard to continue to maintain on a daily basis. So here's the thing with any of the emotions, energies, synergies, things that we want to utilize for manifesting personal things or things for the greater good, which I'm all keen for at this given point in time. I think we're at a very, 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 very critical aspect of where we're at right now. So to continue to maintain on a daily basis, it's not consistent. Now, even the Bible, I'm going to go back to the Bible, that pray without ceasing. So here's what the word pray really means. It's your thoughts. It's your thought life. It's what you're going to manifest, what
Yeah,
you're going to imagine, your imagination. If you're consistent with the thoughts that you have in your mind, don't confuse the fact that, hey, it's just a thought. No, BS. It's your belief system. So if you consistently have the same belief, you have the same narrative that you're telling to yourself, that's what's going to manifest in your life. I know this for a fact. My life has changed drastically, even in the last year, just with making those little bitty, tiny little shifts. And it doesn't start, it's kind of like building your mental muscle.
yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If you will drive yourself up a frickin' tree trying to pray without ceasing, and that's your thought life. Again, don't confuse this with the religious moniker. This is something that is just your thought life, your inner dialogue. If you can maintain that, I told you about my whole thing where I was working at when I walked in, where people are like all frump. They were
Yeah,
all a bunch of. It felt like it. I don't know. They're not, but it felt like they were all kind of feeding off of this, oh, it's a crappy Monday.
yeah,
And I thought, oh my God, my life has sucked for the last 20 years. And I have to deal with people that can't make a Monday a good day. So I walked into that building and I started telling everybody, Happy Monday. And
yeah,
I tell you, within 7 months, everybody, I walked in the building one day and I saw the receptionist and or somebody, and they were passing by and they go, "Hey, happy Tuesday." And I was like, "Oh my God, that was quick." And it was just that, I'm not sitting there going, I'm going to say it's Happy Monday. No, you say it and you let it go and you move on with your day. You,
yeah,
you don't dwell on it. It's kind of like, Neville Goddard was saying, it's like when you plant a seed,
yeah.
you don't pull the seed out of the ground and look, is it still growing? Is it still growing? Oh, I'll put it back in the ground. It's not,
I know
if you're,
I
yeah,
do.
yeah, and if you're pregnant, if you and that's the seed of life. Are you wondering whether the baby is, you know what I mean? Some people are kind of weird and they will kind of like fret over things, but you know what I mean? That kind of gets the whole idea. So when people started saying this, I thought, well, I'm going to up the ante. I'm going to up the ante. Oh, the happy hump day. At least we're halfway there. And I saw, oh, happy eve of pre-Friday. Happy pre-Friday if it was Thursday.
Yeah.
If it was Monday, happy post-Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, I started, and everybody would just laugh about that, and they were starting to come up with their own stuff.
Mine
So, I
is
mean,
I just say good morrow because we're all in different time zones, night and day, and so it's just good morrow. That's it.
yep.
Yeah.
And,
That's
and
right.
it's whatever is going to lift somebody. It's whatever is going to maintain that upward trajectory. So that is a form of prayer. Prayer is just a set of consistent thoughts.
Yeah.
And that in your imagination will manifest whatever dialogue you're consistently carrying on. That's in alignment with the energies, the synergies, the frequencies,
Mm,
your sine wave. And
mm,
it's not just two-dimensional, it's multidimensional.
mm.
So, yeah, I mean, it's extremely powerful.
In the old days, religion was my form of prayer. Get down on your knees, put your hands together, bend your head, and parasitical feeding. Then it got into I discovered what bless was and bliss was and the concept of the two. And I had to take ritual out of both. And so these days, I now give thanks. I give appreciation. I give gratitude for what I'm about to receive or the company that I keep or, just the impersonal thank you, acknowledgement. And then it goes on to, okay, so what is it that I want to manifest? And with clear intent. I mean, I've been to these places where I'm going to name it. I went to the Ethereal Society. It was just a whole set of yeah, coincidences. Yeah, right. That led me to this particular place. And I went in there with a friend, and we're the only ones that were there. It was like totally just a few people that open the door, pop in there, turn the lights on, and do their thing, but nobody else. You know, no victims, except for myself and a friend. We went in there, and I've seen this happen before, but I saw it differently. This one, my friend sat down next to me and he basically fell asleep straight away. His energy was just drawn out straight into a little box that stood on an altar. And I could feel that tug, and I had to keep telling myself, I got to drive home, and it's 45-minute drive at night, so I've got to stay with it. I've got to stay with it. And then towards the end there, I gave my friend a nudge and said, come on, we've got to get out of here. Because I was totally drained. I had to get out of there.
Mm.
And as soon as we stepped out of that building, it was like we came back to life again. It was really bizarre. Now,
Wow.
the other one, we went, the same person and I, we went with another person, so three of us, went to my friend's, the other person, the third party's church. I don't do churches because I see more than just people in these churches. And so I was there, and as soon as I stepped through the door, I saw these beings. And I know that they knew that I could see them because everybody just turned in unison, you know, and that was the entity controlling its host. And you could see them all turn their heads. It's like a bloody horror movie, mate. And they all turned their heads at the same time and looked at me. And I turned to see the third party, my third party friend, sit down next to me, and he literally bowed his head, and this thing just came up beside him, this creature being like a, almost like a shadow reptilian, but I don't want to put the reptilians in that class. Anyway, and it just fed off the back of him, and he just went, oh, dunk, out like a light, like a light. And it was like I think I was only in there for like 10 minutes before I woke him up and left as well. I said, "Come on, mate, I gotta get you home to bed. You're zonked." He's 60 something years old and still worked on the railway. I had to get him home so he could have a nana nap. So poor old fella.
Wow.
But that was really interesting. Watching different and I felt really bad because it was a group of elderly people that met there for their end of days, social get together. And this is what I was seeing happening. They were bowing their heads, and these parasitical feeders were feeding off them. And to me, that was the type of scumbags those parasites were. They showed their scumbaggeriness to me by feeding off these people at the stages that these guys were at. It was absolutely disgusting. So
Oh,
I got a new respect for different beings and giving thanks to the life forms that were already here doing the work to fight these different types of parasitical entities. So, this AI system it's more of a 3D parasitical system. Yeah, humans can really make a mess of things, but humans can also build some absolutely amazing things. And we
so
can,
I kind of heard when you said that they're in this 3D realm. So is this their final? Is this their? I don't want to say final, but as far as they are not a, and I don't like to use the word above, but the number is even though the number is higher in a frequency. I don't like dimension per se, but in a frequency sense that this AI is really, and I don't think it's going to be grasping. I don't think it's going to be grasping for this last foothold. I kind of feel like that it's possible that it is like the ones that are putting it into place. The ones that I'm not even going to say it, people title them with the capital E, and then it's L, right? And then you can fill in the rest of the blanks. Though those are the ones that are potentially going to be um, looking at this as maybe as a last foothold to keep this particular realm. Not saying they're not gonna, do more, but this is like they feel like this is their realm.
yeah, I kind of feel like as we can access these different dimensions, and from what I've seen and communicated with some of these beings coming into our dimensions, there was tears in the fabric. There's tears in the dimensions, and they were able to come in because we were hijacked. We weren't aware of the abilities that we had to be able to do this dimensional work, but these other ancient AI technology information was able to. So they were able to hijack our senses in our sleep, our dreams, activities, different influences over us. They're always accessing us. And I now am at a stage where I feel like the AI is stepping into accessing these dimensions. And our job, or my job at this point in time, is to stop that from happening. Is to stop it from getting into these dimensions and getting off this planet. We've got to shut it down again. We've got to keep it buried and have a decent civilization. We've got to be able to realize who's pulling the strings, it's not working, dismantle it, and start again. And those that have caused the issues knowingly and willingly need to be brought to our justice. They're working for AI. They're working for AI. As far as I'm concerned, all governments are working for AI.
Everybody always want, and I know I did a little thing last September, October. I think it was in October. And because the political realm here was and still is very, very polarized. And I did a little thing called Puppets on Parade. Maybe I'll repost that on Facebook or something. But it kind of brings to light the fact that it's not necessarily, it kind of is a distraction, but it does take away enough attention that we are not necessarily giving what's important the attention that it needs. And typically that's our human connection with each other, with family, with friends, even with co-workers, colleagues, neighbors, whatever you want to put on at the relationship. That's what it's there to divide.
Yeah.
It's there to divide and conquer. That's a well-known phrase. So, yeah. So I kind of feel like that's maybe the thrust of their idea is to divide and conquer, and it is puppets on parade, and it doesn't matter which wing you're left, right, or in the middle. It's all in the same bird.
Yeah.
It's all the same bird. So who's the bird?
Yeah.
Who's the bird? Who's flying the bird? What is the bird?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we kind of give our power away when it comes to that stuff. So
Mm.
anyway,
Mm.
you got anything else? We've been going for a hot minute.
Well, positive affirmations, I reset my mind, I reset my body, I bring myself back to me and authentic self, and this, don't knock yourself if you make a mistake, it's room for growth. If you're able to identify something that you think is going to cause harm or damage or something that goes against your morals, know what your moral compass is. Know what gives you. I mean, I can go outside in really, at the moment, 7 o'clock in the morning and sit on the absolutely white, frosty grass with my bare butt, that's like, whoa, a little bit of bliss. That's like, if you don't do it, you're not gonna know. You're not gonna know what makes you happy, what makes you feel good. Just the little things. If you feel good when you're around other people, your energy picks up other people's energies. Everybody's going through something. Everybody's got some form of trauma or something that the whole, all of them. We've got the abandonment, we've got we've got grief, we've got jealousy, we've got all the programs that we've been through. That's all they are. They're just programs. They're not who you are. You're able to get past all of that and grow, really, really grow. Stand up for yourself. When you know you're authentic with yourself, the truth is yours. Nobody, nothing can take it away from you. And that's a light energy source. You can grow your energy source from that. Yeah, amplification. I got so many things, from the whole AI concept, hidden influences, amplification of people's weaknesses. That doesn't sound like a very positive kind of technology to me that has the abilities to do this. Erosion of human connection. That's a huge one. They've already set that platform up for us in the whole a few years ago thing, keeping us isolated and separating us, and then putting us into a situation where we don't want human contact
Right.
because it's not just dirty, it's mentally draining. So we don't want that. So we go into the isolation state. When they separate us, this is divide and conquer. And when they've separated us, then they come in with the next thing. The AI is going to be your friend. What do you want? Let me serve you, and then comes the service. Oh, you want a robot? Tell me what you want it to look like. And then you watch all the laws change so that suddenly you're allowed housekeepers or caregivers into your home, which of that nature.
Yeah.
you know, yeah, there's going to be a lot of new injuries. And this is my prediction in the future. There will be, yeah, no, no, no. Be careful. Be careful with what you do. Each and every one of us is really, really valuable. Um, AI can't change who you are. It, you know, it can, influence you. It can put you into some bad mental states and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like anything. If you pull that trigger, it's not the gun's fault. If you swing that sword, it's not the blade's fault. So your participation in these environments is what's feeding that beast. All right. Anyway, that's all I really can say. I got heaps, but be aware of your triggers, what's triggering you. Emotional distress. We're all getting hit with it. And when you think you're through it, just be a little bit relaxed, a little bit on guard, and watch the other one show itself. Because as soon as you get through, it comes in threes, and I'm over it now. So, enjoy the sunshine, even if it turns out to be bloody fake. Enjoy the small things that are around us. And yeah, your interaction with AI is going to affect somebody else's life at some stage. So be aware of that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. All our contact goodies will be in the description box below. I don't know about you, Stone, but it's 9:30 at night here. I'm gonna go grab the dog and I'm gonna take me a nice long walk in the dark with the
Yeah,
dog.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
It's good to have that human contact and dialogue and the camaraderie, but it's also good to be comfortable within your own self,
Yeah.
knowing that you are whole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, you could also be an asshole, but let's not go there.
Yeah. All right. Well, until the next time we meet and get on here and go crazy like we do, I think next time it's a reading. We should be doing a reading.
Yeah. We need to get a reading person. I thought of somebody and I might reach out to them and I'll maybe divulge who that is if they decide to
Yeah.
go for
Oh,
it. I don't know.
we've got a list. We've got a list. I was just like, oh,
We're
I might.
we're looking for men though, right?
Well, I'm not
Men
sure.
reader.
I'm not
Well,
sure.
men reader. I'm being silly. I'm being silly. We have all these
Yeah, well,
females on. I get it.
I wrote some of your code words down today, so that'll be a discussion for off the air.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
Can I just hear a howl?
We are very graphic. Yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Okay, so Arizona, we'll close on this very positive note. So I sent you that little thing that said about, am I an asshole? I'm not an asshole. I am not an asshole. I'm a hemorrhoid. I irritate assholes. Okay? So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Right. So on that cheery note,
Have fun. Have fun. Be nice to yourself. Be nice to yourself.
100%. All right. Everybody have an awesome evening, day, weekend, whatever you got coming up. And we'll see y'all on the flip side.